Max out. LFY now a full-on retreat from them. They lose their Terrorblade. They lose their puff. Well, they get a profit out of it, but they still have not claimed a tower.
Or the life of Alchemist. This Alchemist is just way too big. Mantis out now. Online, I just don't think their lineup could actually deal with Illusion at this point, right? Who could actually kill them? Illusion? Puff, maybe? That's it?
And now Mansa style completed. Yeah. The split push ramps up. And like you said, LFY just not that good at contesting the illusions. They don't have a natural hex. They don't have a Pugna with an Aghanims, you know, anything to instantly kill them. They don't even really have that much mobility to hunt the illusions, like, globally around the map. So Liquid continue to get their plan together. The Sprout getting dropped. The Fissure comes with the Acid Spray laid down, and In Flames in all kinds of trouble. Liquid quench the fire, and they will take the tower now as well. Tier 2 dropping one step closer to that game 3. It's still a long road, but they're getting there. Slowly but surely, GH, the commitment forward. He brings in the Fissure. He's got the Echo. He's going to use it. No, the Sunder comes out. He retreats. He resets. He lets Miracle do the heavy lifting, and that is enough to get the kill. Aqua with an uppercut to Sprout out, almost saving him. But and in the end, will go down. Liquid, a 3-for-1 exchange for them. Cores are melting. LFI are not farming. They're not split pushing. They haven't gone greedy. They're fighting and they're losing the fights. Liquid, tier 2, dropping here now. God, they are so far ahead. 16,000 gold, almost closing in on that 1,000 gold per minute advantage being accrued.
And part of the reason why they're so ahead is they're also defending every single tower. Mind control, porting around the map, making sure they don't lose each tier 1. Crystal May that you saw earlier, defending tower. And yeah, sure, we see the Sunder being pulled off here, but it doesn't matter. They just overwhelm the Sunder. GH does end up going down, but right now it's LFY losing the war.
That is certainly the case. Liquid, already the Alk off to an 18,000 net worth accrued. So much for shutting the Alk down early. You know, LFY maybe thought they could do it. They went for this Bloodseeker pick, looking for strong lanes with the Lich, but Liquid outmaneuvered them. LFY were unable to respond, and now they play inside a huge hole, trying to crawl their way out, but the walls of that hole are slippery as GH only pokes his head out. Finally, maybe LFY can get something. No, GH! He's too quick! Just blinks away, zips out of there, and they're pushing top. So even if LFY get this tier 1, they're likely giving up a tier 2. It's about to drop. Mind control. Last hit claimed. The trade is there, but it's not the dream scenario for LFY. Not by any means.
Well, let's begin and test how good is the LFY high ground.
Can they defend? They have that Blood Rite spam, but it's not the late game threat where, you know, you've got the talent for the reduced cooldown, and meanwhile, they're losing super. Bloodseeker trapped out, he tries to run away, but the Alk's done. Pounding him, locks him in position, slice, dice, see ya. Super is dead, and Mila also TPing out as the Tusk. Mind control, no way to cancel it. This Bloodseeker just doesn't feel like a hero. First Shaker has done way more and even has the net worth to show it.
Yeah. Also, I don't think...
And we're comparing to... Relay are about to grab it. Nova, he's tanking up. The Shaker is always a threat to completely shut down your initiation. And of course, the Prophet, the Alk are getting too tanky to burst. So Liquid have more and more ways to punish. They still have those towers up with the shrines to give them a quick, ready response option. And they give up nothing freely. Now a 24,000 gold lead. They're almost at that iconic 1,000 gold per minute advantage mark. Now it's hitting 25k advantage at 25 minutes. I mean, the numbers are bad, Lumi. They're real bad for LFY. And this is bad too. They're going to lose in Flame Bottom.
Displaying that Orchid, combination with the Shadow Blade, nothing much that the Puck could have done. I do want to mention your suggestion earlier of the Midas on Bloodseeker. We saw Miracle going for it when he had a tough time in the last game, and honestly, might have been the item choice this game. I was worried that the Midas might not have paid off in time, but he really needs to hit level 25 for them to actually have a chance. That Blood Ride cooldown is probably going to be the best way to defend their buildings, but he's gone for the Radiance, and honestly, I'm not sure how much it'll do.
Yeah, can they farm their way back into this game? They're down 27,000 gold to an Alchemist and NP with no outer structures up. They still don't have the Radiance. They didn't go for any other farming tools to try and accelerate that. I mean, that is hopeful if you're an LFY fan.
They could go for the Roshan whenever Liquid wants, although they're just too busy farming the whole map. Miracles with the BOTs, taking every bounty room. That's a cool thing to do. Shrines have been down for LFY. Their map control is non-existent.
One lane down, Liquid, 2 lanes to go. Perhaps just wait for the next Roche. More tool to find those pickoffs coming in. Glimmer Cape on Kuro, Shadow Blade on the Shaker of GH. Already Mind Control has his. The mobility is there. They're going to commit on Kuro. Get the CM kill. It's something for LFY, but they don't get the big one. Prophet's out of there.
And I guess the silver lining is that all of these ultimates are fairly low on cooldown, that you can't keep making those small ganks. I mean, the one CM kill doesn't mean anything, but if you catch her a couple times...
The Dark Cloud, though, is Liquid are taking Roche, so...
I mean, they were going to take Roche regardless of what LFY is going to do, right? So, small something for LFY.
Miracle goes snag the Aegis, Matumba the cheese. Liquid closing it on that round 2 siege. They show GH out in front.
Yep.
Unafraid of an LFY venture.
You were asking what can LFY do. I really like this kind of line of ward they have placed around their map. It just shows you that if somebody steps out of position a little bit, they have an option to pick them off. The heroes are fairly mobile in terms of the puck and whatnot. But
GH gonna rumble forward again.
Are they ready for these Shadow Blades?
Even if they are, it's tough to have the true sight everywhere. GH lying in wait from the trees. The sentry comes down. He blinks out. Close call there, but now trapped on a cliff and in trouble is Afu. He gets pushed down to the low ground, but the pursuit coming out. Look for the TP. Look for the dive. They get the vision. They don't get the kill, but more importantly, they dodge that LFY foray. Even stepping outside the base is courageous from LFY. With the way this game has turned. Now an Assault Caress complete on the Alk. Prepare for the onslaught.
It's siege time, right? If you're a Liquid?
I think so. Top lane's pushed in. Mid lane about to arrive at the base. They're going to push on bottom, so they maximize the distance that LFY have to travel to deal with the lane of Rax that's already caved in, while also fighting this fresh siege. Here comes Miracle onto the high ground. Strong up in front. They try to slow him down. His own illusion being turned against him here, doing something for now, but he just fights through it unaffected, at least for the time being. You can see Prophet also thinking about a creeping in maneuver. Miracle still at full HP. This tower's dropping. They're going to rupture him. Blood Right as well. Push back to safety. He can heal it off. Glimmer Cape even coming through. Miracle playing patient here. The Prophet ult ensures that the lanes will not push out. LFY, if they want, they could just sit back, wait out this Metamorphosis, Lumi, and then LFY will have even less tools to deal with the siege.
Yeah. Go do it again here. We got the ultimate back on the Alchemist. Chemical Rage ready to go.
You can see the Prophet is rotated top. They're just going to play it slow, steady, patient. And as LFY rotate, now they start to come back in, pulling LFY apart at the seams. It's the Liquid way for sure. Illusion again being created. Pushing him back for a moment, but he gets a few swipes in. That tower continues to drop even through the Frost Armor. One step closer. One step closer. Liquid looking for the giant leap. They bring Miracle down to half. The Blood Ray comes out. He's got to back away. The Glimmer Cape protects him.
Still has Aegis.
No rupture. Yeah, Still Aegis.
Yeah, he's not worried.
And remember, he could have buyback for all they know. So in theory, they might have to kill him more than just the 2 times. He's in flame. Tries to stall things out here. He's in pretty deep. Looking for the jump away. He does blink out. Facing the right direction. But the Trance just swarm back towards top. They've gotten the tower down. They close in on the second lane. And at some point, I don't know why they're going to want to fight. But meanwhile, mid, look for the jump from the Shaker Fissure.
Nice
phase shift. He looks for the blink up, but the Prophet bounces through. He won't be able to retreat easily, but they're content with this. They don't even want to dive. The threat of the Echo is a bigger problem as LFY losing their range. Frost Armor, not enough illusions coming in. There's no more Metamorph. How do LFY hold? They're down 34,000 gold. There's an Alchemist terrorizing them. The Tumba Man diving in.
Chain Stun City.
The Chain Stun is there. Backing away, won't get off the ultimate. Thunder not available. Base is crumbling. Liquid are going to pull it out. They've taken game 2. They force a deciding game 3. Lumi, I have to say, when they walked out of that booth after game 1, Matumba Man was smiling. Their manager, Mo, he was smiling. They didn't seem phased even in defeat. And they show it here that this is a resilient team.
For sure. I mean, they had their fair shares of 100-minute games. They also had fair shares of 20-minute games. This team could do it all. And I think this game was due to the very, very smart drafting of Curl and the very smart laning of Team Liquid. I almost felt like this game ended at 10 minutes in.
I would agree, and I'm not sure what the response could have been from LFY. They did leave that Lich top and slow down the Nature's Prophet early. Maybe he could have been sent elsewhere. They tried to make some rotations with Aku, but Liquid were ready every step of the way. So now we have a game 3 on the horizon. Newbie sitting back as the final boss, awaiting the victor. Feels like it could be either team's game, and so much of it going to come down to the draft here. The execution has been on point from both teams.
Yeah, that's for sure. I felt like even though Alpha lost here, they still play extremely well. But to break it down further, let's send it back to J9 and the boys.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm up here with the boys, and what a shift in tone that match was. I mean, Peter, it was you who was saying this actually looks like a Team Liquid draft in this game.
Yeah, it was intolerable to play, right? LFI was just like, what do we do? There's Trance everywhere. There's Venomancer wards. We got to worry about this Alchemist who's, farming at 30K net worth. Like, that's how Liquid plays. They put pressure on you.
We were just like talking before the game that they can't protect Alc mid. They just put him safe lane.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yep.
And I mean, with Venomancer and Nature's Prophet being pretty stable laners early, there's really not a lot of pressure that Team Liquid felt at any points. I mean, the kill counts were kind of even for a while, but the net worth was just swinging hard in Team Liquid's favor, almost from the beginning.
Don't really prefer Super on the Bloodseeker, too. Usually they give him a lane that's like always a wash, like a DK lane, a Medusa lane. You can't really lose that lane that hard. That lane, he got crushed. It reminded me of TI5 where Shiki played Bloodseeker versus Sumeil's Lina. He just got constantly dominated. This time there was GH involved, but he was useless the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, at 26 minutes in, Bloodseeker had phase boots, a stick, and one other small item, a Force Staff.
Yeah, he was working towards Force Staff. It was, I think that hero's a little bit overrated. I mean, we'll see in the grand finals when Newbie probably first twos it every game. But for me, I think the hero kind of has some gaps, and he doesn't really get a lot done in every game.
Well, Purge has some thoughts about how the draft went and about how the opening of the game went. Walk us through what you're thinking.
Well, it did come down to the lanes a lot. The cool thing about the draft and maybe the things to look at was, again, like you guys are talking about, the Bloodseeker has been a feature of a lot of different games and kind of seeing how things develop. But the cool thing is that he doesn't lane very well against heroes that output a huge amount of damage. And that's because whenever he uses Blood Rage, he takes extra damage as well. And the other cool thing was the Terrorblade in response to the Nature's Prophet, because that hero has the highest base armor in the game and can resist the lane very well. But when you actually match up the Venomancer against the Bloodseeker, he's just constantly getting dominated. That is the start of the lane, and he's already lost a third of his health. And it's difficult for him to get it back. And they're able to kill Nature's Prophet, but as soon as Venomancer just throws out Venomous Gales, every single time Bloodseeker is going to have an awful time. So consistently just getting pressured in the early game, and just general good rotations from all the supports. And once Venomancer hits the mid game as well, this is the part where he also matches up very well against the Terrorblade. It's another hero that doesn't deal extremely well with extremely high damage outputs, which is exactly what Venomancer does. It forces Terrorblade to have to sunder his allies because all they have to do is Gale and Venomous whatever his ulti's called, Poison Nova, and he is going to go down. And then they just go in for the cleanup every time. And almost every time Monet was able to get a kill before dying, but that's not good enough when you're getting 3 heroes killed, and in the whole portion of the game, Bloodseeker just can't farm. So this just kept happening continuously, and he's the one that's actually supposed to deal with the other problem in the game, which is Miracle and the Alchemist. And you might have been wondering, like, what is he doing all game? And the answer is pretty much whatever the hell he wanted to, just messing around.
Yeah, and I mean, with that, Miracle winds up being the MVP of the match. I mean, his net worth was double everyone else's. Honestly, the net worth graph looked kind of like the prize pool graph for this tournament. It's a little bit top heavy. Had something like 15K net worth, and second was 6.
It's just what Alchemists do. And
yeah.
They get super far ahead. And that game was particularly great for Miracle because he didn't, you know, like Purge was saying, he could really do whatever he wanted and go wherever he wanted and farm neutral creeps forever. His team was winning fights 4v5. Venomancer, Nature's Prophet, it was so much damage happening.
It was just a perfect draft for Liquid. I think with his Venomancer and Prophets, it's like they were winning fights without the Alchemist, and that is exactly how you want to play the Alchemist. So
totally ignoring Caudle in that draft.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, maybe it's just not for us in this series.
I like it.
I think it's definitely smart. It's a good adaptation. I think that there'll probably be another ban. Maybe they'll ban the Shaker this time. Give up Necrophos or give up Wisp even. Did they try that?
I think they ban out the Shaker, probably take Nick's first phase, and it deals with Nature's Prophet and it deals with Necrophos.
The combination of Furion and Earthshaker together, I think, is just too much. I look at, like, if you give up Furion, which I think is one of the best heroes right now in Dota, you really kind of want that Earthshaker to help deal with all the summons and just get rid of everything in teamfights. But then if somebody picks those two together, you know, not only are they getting a great hero in Earthshaker, but they're deny picking your counter to all these summons.
So if we extend that logic to this upcoming draft, Team Liquid, again, is still looking strong on the drafting phase. How does LFY adjust to respond?
Comes down to first pick and second pick as well, and we don't really know which team that choose what, but I mean, they have 2 options now, right? They can either try to go for the same kind of draft, but just like switch a small thing, and we could see that the newbie versus LFY the game, they go like newbie picks the same 2 heroes every 3 games because they feel they are the best for them against that team, and I think LFY can kind of do the same here and like not mix it up a bit too much, like with the Wisp or something.
Waiting on the Lich pick might be a good idea. That hero, it did really well in game 1. Game 2, it kind of fell flat, and maybe game 3, just kind of lower your priority on it. And you know, if they pick Furion and all these Venomancer rewards, and they actually just fight you at a distance, maybe it's best to go with a different hero.
Inflame has been still looking incredibly strong on Puck. I mean, he wasn't able to get the same level of farm that game, wasn't able to have the same type of impact. Do you think that Puck is still a high priority pick for LFY?
Certainly. I think this game was a bad representation of how good Puck is and how good Inflame is at the hero. They lost like all their lanes, and they had an Alchemist farming. Things just weren't going their way at all. So it's hard to take too much from player performance in that game. I think it was more a drafting and strategy victory for Team Liquid here.
Yeah, I mean, even at the start of the game, Afu looked really good, bombing in, getting nice picks.
Afu was all over the place. On Tusk, he was getting a bunch of kills, but unfortunately, Tusk is not a hero that can win you the game.
Ken in the pub all-star match, man, a Tusk gets a Shadow Blade, it's over.
Yeah, it is a little bit different of a beast here in the lower bracket finals.
That is true.
TI7.
On the final day. Now, I'm curious about, I want to talk more about some of the key picks that LFY should look for to respond to this Earthshaker Furion threat that we're seeing out of Team Liquid.